So we're at the Rally for Media Reform, and I'm here with James Curran, who's a professor at Goldsmiths University on communications. So he knows more about media reform than most of us. He's just addressed a panel in a packed room talking about the Leveson inquiry, outlined some of his points. James, could you run through some of the basics of those, please?
We have a very high degree of media concentration in Britain, much higher than most other countries like Germany or America. So the first thing we need to do is to limit any media corporation to controlling no more than 15% of the revenue of the core media industry. Secondly, we need to impose public duties on large corporations as a condition of their continuing to have a privileged market position, and that includes ensuring that journalists have a conscience clause in their employment contract and that staff are represented on the board of directors. So the objective should be to limit centralization of control in large media corporations. In addition, we need to have new voices, and the way to do that is to have a levy on internet search advertising and content aggregators like Google, and to use the proceeds of that allocated by a public trust to enable new online journalistic ventures.
So do you mean money that's allocated to areas of society that are not represented, or journalists from those areas of society? Which sort are you thinking about? What sort of people would you see?
It would mean new newspapers in localities where there's a local monopoly. It would mean enabling new voices to be heard nationally in online internet ventures. It means limiting the way in which our national conversation is monopolized by very large players, and opening up a debate and ensuring this happens through properly funded new ventures.
This sounds great, obviously. You've been talking about media, I think, through all of your academic life. You use the word we there. What are the chances of any of this happening, do you think? We've got a bit of a momentum, but how much? How optimistic are you?
Well, I was struck by the fact that the deputy leader of the Labour Party, Harriet Harman, argued that there should be controls on large media concentrations. That's a new policy that she in effect unveiled today. It means that senior politicians are willing, in the present climate of opinion of horror over Millie Dowler, to think new radical thoughts about what we should do about large media corporations that misuse their power and limit public debate.
So could we say that we're seeing an optimistic James Curran here then?
An amazingly optimistic James Curran. This is a real opportunity, a chance in a generation to get a better press.
So, there we are, chance in a generation to get a better press. This is the Rally for Media Reform. It's Patrick Chalmers with Vision on TV.